Cool, crisp, and full of shit. No, what is it?
Crisp and clean.
No caffeine.
Zero caffeine.
Fucking
no caffeine.
Oh,
yeah.
God.
Crisp and clean.
No
caffeine.
What's going on? Power Trip Gaming Retrospective.
Yeah. Grab yourselves a 7-Up and let's do this. Let's do this review.
Or Dr. Pepper.
Or Dr. Pepper.
But preferably 7-Up.
7-Up.
Considering we're talking about Spot. The first game that featured the 7-Up then and now mascot, Spot. A little Spot with sunglasses.
Is Spot still the mascot of 7-Up?
I think so, but I don't think they actually do anything with it.
It's just
kind of
not-
like the Noi.
Yeah, it's just not quite as... Yeah, they were really... It's almost as if they took, like restaurant or, like, company mascots and turned them into video game properties, almost like they took cartoon shows and turned them into video games.
Look at Chester Cheetah.
Yeah.
He had like 2 or 3 games, I think.
I think he did, yeah.
I mean, Spot had 2 or 3. I think he had Spot. He had Cool Spot.
Cool Spot. You had Spot's Adventure or something like that. Yeah.
So you're right. This was a weird era where they could take almost damn near anything.
They tried to take anything to make a video game out of it.
Toxic Crusaders?
Yeah.
I mean, what? A Tromaville?
Yeah, but with that, I can sort of understand because that was still in the end of like TMNT, where TMNT, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, was just an absolute juggernaut. The comic came out in 1984, and in '87 the cartoon show started, and then in 1989 the video game started, and so then you had the movie in 1990, and so it just kind of each thing spurred something else, and so that was when people were like, okay, if you have some big IP, the way to do it is you got to create the cartoon, you got to do the video game, and then you'll get the movie, and then you'll get the toys, and you'll get everything else.
You'll propel yourself to prominence.
And so that's why you had the games like Bucky O'Hare, where you had the 13 episode season where they were trying to do that. Then they did the video game. Then they hoped that it was going to be a movie and that it was just going to continue to spurn off all these different licensing items. And then they did that with Toxic Crusaders, where I think the Toxic Avenger had first come out in the early to late 80s, and then they decided, okay, we're going to try to make this into something big, so they went with the animated TV show, then they did the toy line, then they did the video game, and then they're like, okay, well, hopefully now we can get people to kind of keep on buying from this, and keep on board, so that's what they were doing. But
unfortunately, many fell short. It was not a it was more unsuccessful than successful, I would say.
Many tried, and nobody quite hit that stride like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles did. They just completely hit the ground running, and it was just in the right place at the right time, where it really was Turtle Mania.
Yeah.
That was a term that was coined in 1986, and it really was kind of the start of Turtle Mania.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, it was huge.
They had. I grew up Ninja Turtles as hell. Like, I had the toys, the games, the fucking comics. Like, I had all sorts of shit.
I had the sheets.
Yeah.
The bed sheets.
I mean, but we're...
As you can tell, we don't really want to talk about Spot. We want to talk about this stuff right now.
I was about to say, we're kind of getting way off topic.
We are, because we gotta talk about fucking Spot.
Yeah, so, Spot, 1990, 91? I think it was 1990.
It was 1989.
1989.
1989.
It was Virgin Mastertronics.
And, Acadia. Or Arcadia. I'm sorry.
Something. Developed this game.
And it was published by Arcadia as well too. They didn't publish too many games, but they did this one though.
Yeah, this game is essentially like, I think they equated it to the video game Attacks with 2 X's. It's Go. They call the game Attacks.
Really?
Yeah.
It's
Go.
Those of you who are familiar with the Japanese game Go, this is literally what it is.
Othello.
Or Othello, if you've ever heard of Othello, because that came out actually before this. I think that was in 87 or 88.
Yeah.
Othello was the same way. It was just a video game version of Go.
Yeah.
The Japanese game.
So the point of the game is to get more of your color by essentially spreading your color out, stealing or flipping other tiles to your color, and that's how it works.
Yeah,
like straight lines, diagonals. Like as long as you somehow made a connecting line, you got all in between.
So
tricky.
So what it is you've got an open board that has like so many different spaces, and you put a colored chip that is. So there's your color versus the opponent's color. Yeah. And you each put out your chips. But then there comes a point where your chips are going to be starting to be in the adjacent spots. Or adjacent
spots?
Adjacent to your opponent. And when they are adjacent, when you put down a chip, all of the surrounding adjacent squares change to that color. And then it honestly does get into a very strategic... method later in the game, and so it can get really cutthroat at the very end too, where colors are just changing back and forth, and then whoever has more of their colored spots on the board versus the other team, they're the winner, of course.
If I remember this correctly, it actually got pretty close between us.
Yes, I think it did. Yeah,
it came down to
it
like
always
a
came
couple
down to a couple of pieces or something like that. Where you had more than me by a couple pieces, or I had more. I can't even remember.
I know you won.
Oh,
you won it. Oh yeah.
Okay.
This was. I think I came close, but I didn't. I couldn't pull off at the end. But yeah, I mean that's essentially it. You try to dominate the board.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll get right into it. Difficulty. Can you?
I mean honestly,
It's
with
like a puzzle game.
Yeah, with
it's
other puzzle and sports games, you really can't put a difficulty on. Well, you can put a difficulty on other puzzle games like Castle Quest. We were able to do Lolo, but this kind of game, there's actually 5 different levels of difficulty, and so the game itself is basically like playing chess. And I would not put a difficulty on chess or checkers because it's basically the more you know about the game, the lower the difficulty is going to go down. Of course, so it's basically there's no subjective or objective way to give this game a difficulty.
No, and to be honest, I've never beat the computer at this game.
I have, but I mean on like the level 1 or level 2 difficulty. I've never beaten on the highest difficulty.
No, I honestly as a kid I didn't have the patience for these kinds of games, so I remember we rented it once from that Video Powerhouse, and I think I played it for like 20 minutes, and I was just like, man, fuck this.
It's pretty boring to a kid, honestly.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's kind of boring as an adult.
Well, actually, we really can't get into the difficulty all that much because, like I said, it's got the 5 different levels of difficulty for the computer that you can play it at, and that's pretty much it. So
it's kind of just as difficult as your opponent is.
Yeah.
If you're playing an idiot, this game is easy for you.
It can be really easy.
Yeah.
So.
But
honestly, saying that, I would say moving into it, let's just get into the fun and just say, what did you give this game for fun? Obviously, you have some ideas of how you feel about this game.
It's unique in the sense of board gaming goes in the NES era. There's no other game like it that I can recall.
Othello.
There was Othello on the NES.
Yes.
Oh Jesus, I didn't know that.
Yeah, we just talked about it.
Well, to be honest, Othello I would give a 2. This I would at least give a 3. Actually, I take that back. Well, just...
Wow.
So...
Why are you so harsh on Othello?
Othello... Dude, this game is boring. The game actually is pretty boring. Like, it's boring to watch. And honestly, after a while, it's just kind of boring to play. But, I mean, there's really not a whole lot to it. You're just dominating the board. The only real fun part is the cute little things that happen as you move.
Yeah, because of Spot.
Yeah, ding 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 ding.
Yeah,
I've been humming that all fucking day.
He's got like the roller skates, and he'll roller skate. He'll do the walk like the Egyptian. He'll pole vault to like a farther like piece or something like that.
Yeah. So I mean, that's really where the only differentiation is between this and Othello is the fact of that animation and the fun factor of the Spot. I mean, you're playing as the Spot. When he dives down and then dives into the thing or whatever, it's fun.
Or he'll fall backwards.
Yeah,
into the
it's
spot.
fun for the first 5 minutes.
First game.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, honestly, like it feels like a 3 to me. Would I ever replay it? Probably not. Would I play against you again? Maybe. But I would never play this game single player. So honestly, like I can't. I don't know. My gut feeling says this game's a 3, but I could be overstretching it even. I don't know what you're giving it, so I'm sure you'll influence me. So shoot, buddy, what do you give it?
I won't.
You're writing. You have to look up your notes.
No. Just so that you could see that I'm not. You didn't influence me.
Difficulty and a fun 3.
I gave it a 3 for fun as well too.
Wow.
Because
okay.
I think the idea of Go and the game itself, I think is it's a strategy game that is really not talked about all that well.
No.
Or all that much in our culture. I mean, it's huge in Japan, and actually, fun fact, the former president of Nintendo, Hiroshi Yamauchi, he was a humongous Go player.
Really?
Like, he would literally, there was a lot of business deals that he would make only after playing, whoever he was making those deals with, playing Go with them.
Really?
Like, he would literally have a basket of, like, 2 different, like, bowls of tiles, and then he would have the board set up, and they would just play Go, and a lot of big deals were made after playing somebody in Go, because he would get an idea of what kind of person they were, what their style was, what their strategy was after playing them in Go.
I wonder if they would discuss business while playing.
I think that's
one of those things where it's kind of like, what is it? Where like that whole thing of walking helps you think better because your body's doing something, so part of your brain's thinking about walking, but you're kind of like distracting yourself so you think clearer. Maybe that's kind of what this is.
And that's probably what it was too.
Yeah.
So I mean, I like the idea of Go and that style of game and that the kind of strategy that you have to employ into it. I like that in theory, but where this game really falls short is that, first off, of all the mascots, my Spot. Why would you make that into a game?
Of a soda character.
Of a soda character. It was a little tiny dot. Like
it was a red dot.
Just a little tiny dot.
So weird. But now that I think about it, there really aren't any soda mascots.
No.
Not back in the day, even. I mean, how long has Fanta been around? You had the Fanta girls.
Yeah,
but
well,
they didn't make
Sprite,
a game about the Fanta girls.
Sprite also had little Penny Hardaway. Do you remember that when they had the little tiny like marionette of like Emily Hardaway? Yeah.
Yes, but
yeah,
that was back then.
That was in the late '90s. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was.
Yeah. So, but I mean,
it's such a strange.
But I mean, they had literally no idea of what they wanted to use this mascot for, and as we were saying, Othello had just come out, so it's like, why would they have taken something that was probably more appreciated in Japan, not so much in America, and why would they try to copy that game, but with the mascot of 7-Up? It just didn't make sense to me why they would want to do that. At least with Othello, the board was so much bigger, and there was different types of boards that you could play on versus this little 4x4 or 5x5 grid of pieces in Spot. So I mean, it literally, I think unless you are a big fan of the idea and the game of Go, there's really no reason to play this game longer than 5 minutes other than to just see the cute animations that Spot is capable of doing. But other than that, the game gets boring very fast.
So there's no music.
There's no music.
Other than when you're moving.
There's only the opening tune. It's not even a song. It's just the opening tune.
Yeah.
And then there's the
jingles.
And then there's the jingles of every time that he's moving. And that's literally it. There is no substance to this game whatsoever. The only reason I give it a 3 instead of like a 2 or even a 1 is just because, like I said, I enjoy the idea of the game Go, and should one day I ever make it into heaven, I honestly would love to play Go with Hiroshi Yamauchi. I would just love to just... It's one of those things where it's like, if you ever had the chance to meet Have you ever had that question before where it's like, if you could meet 5 people, living or deceased, who would that be? Hiroshi Yamauchi is one of those in my top 5.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I would want to meet or have a drink with anybody.
Why?
I don't really like people.
Oh, well, that's fair.
It would just
Fair
be you, Kevin, and like Tim,
So,
and maybe a couple other friends when we're all dead.
You're funny.
But
But but a fun fact about this that I think you were telling me about, though. I mean, maybe the reason why this game didn't have much substance is because of how quickly they threw this game together, and I don't know why they threw it together so fast. What the time constraint was, if they were trying to get it out before the, I don't know, like the football season or Christmas or something like that. I don't know, but
yeah, it was like this game was developed in around 6 weeks?
6.5 weeks.
6.5 weeks with no hardware or software. So it was pretty much built from the ground up.
It was literally, they had nothing. They had nothing to use for building it, and it was put together from idea to finished product, or, well, to where it would be finished product in 6.5 weeks.
You know what, though? I'll give it to it. For being only 6.5 weeks, not a bad attempt.
I mean, it's not bad at all.
No, considering E.T. was what?
6 weeks.
6 weeks? And, well, that was also Atari.
That was Atari.
So, I mean,
but that's why I will never fault Howard Scott Warshaw, who created E.T. I will never fault him for E.T. or call it the worst game that was ever made, because the constraints that he was put under because of the greed of Atari, and honestly because of what a shady comment Steven Spielberg made, I think the game was doomed from the get-go.
Yeah, I think so too.
So people don't realize that it was Atari that was trying to get that game made so that it would be ready in time for the Christmas season. And you had Steven Spielberg on record in an interview saying, somebody asked him, oh, have you played the new E.T. Atari game yet? Because it hadn't come out yet. He's like, oh yeah, I played it, it's great.
I played it, it's great.
And he literally said it just like that. Oh yeah, I played it, it's great. And it's like, and he probably knew the game was terrible, and he still built up people's expectations for them only to be let down.
Yeah.
And so with this, at least you had no, it seemed like there was no expectations, there was no, I don't know, there was no strong push to try to get it out as quickly as possible. Maybe they were just done in 6.5 weeks. I mean, maybe that's all it took.
So strange.
So, yeah, big time.
But, we'll move on to price point. So we gave it a non-applicable for difficulty.
Yeah.
And a 3 for fun.
Yeah.
What did you pay for Spot?
This is another one that I did not pay for. I got this in that trade with a friend for, as I was getting out of Star Wars collecting and he was still doing it. I traded him some Star Wars toys for some video games that I didn't have, some Nintendo games that I didn't have. So
cool.
This one I got and I did not pay for it. Thank God I didn't pay for it, because it wouldn't have been worth it.
No.
So
as of this video, price charting lists this game for
$9.25.
Ooh,
That's pretty steep for this game.
would you say it's worth it?
No.
No. Buy Legacy of the Wizard, buy Phantom Fighter, buy
Guardian Legend.
Buy a different game.
Just buy a different game.
Unless you want a board game of some sort that you can pick up and play in 10 minutes, I would steer clear.
Honestly, buy Othello. Buy Monopoly. Buy Family Feud. Buy Jeopardy.
Buy Anticipation.
Buy Anticipation.
Isn't Anticipation like $14? I don't remember what that was.
I don't think it's that much. But...
Yeah, this one, honestly, I don't think has a lot going for it. Actually, couldn't you play 4-player?
You could.
Couldn't you 4-score it with 4 different colors?
Yes, this was one of the very few games that was actually set up for 4-player. Yeah,
I suppose we should have mentioned that.
With the with the NES 4-score, and then they also had the I believe it was the NES Satellite. Also was like it had 4 ports as well too. But yeah, the 4-score was the first thing that was actually a controller port that you could plug in 4 different controllers into it to play 4-player. So
I would say, actually playing 4-player of this could get kind of interesting.
Might be a little bit more interesting, but I still don't think that it's enough to
not enough to justify about $10.
No, not enough to satiate, because there's just not enough substance. There's no music. there's only the animations, which honestly, if you're in the middle of a pretty cutthroat game of like of Go or Othello,
the animation's gonna be in the way.
honestly, the animation's just gonna get in the way. Like it's gonna distract you.
Yeah.
And so it's not cute anymore at that point. It's just a hindrance.
Yeah.
So
I was gonna say it might be worth it if you intend to play this 4-player or with another person, but I honestly can't see anyone playing this more than a couple times.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say your money's probably better off going somewhere else, man.
Exactly.
So there you go. Not worth it.
So, not worth it. So difficulty is whatever you make it. The fun, gave it a 3. Is it worth it? No.
Sadly not.
It's not.
So that'll do it for 7-Up's Spot.
7-Up Spots.
So hit us up on Facebook.
Hit us up on Twitter.
Go to powertripgaming.tv. Takes you right to the channel where you can watch Spot.
Links in the description below.
Take you to the playlist.
Yeah.
I think it was only 2 episodes.
It was not long at all. So
I know we got quiet because we were thinking.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
just watch it. Grab a 7-Up. See what you think.
Grab a 7-Up. Maybe emulate it. Maybe grab another 7-Up or a Dr. Pepper and drink and play. Maybe mix some. Can you mix 7-Up with any drinks? I would assume so.
Of course you could.
I thought people mostly use like Sprite or club soda. Although I suppose 7-Up is kind of just club soda.
Isn't there drinks that are called 7-7s?
I have no idea.
Oh,
I don't really
I'm
drink too much.
pretty sure there are, and they're made with 7-Up.
Mhm.
And,
Wasn't there a drink called 50-50?
Oh, maybe that's what
Where
I'm
it was
thinking
like lemon lime or something?
of. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of then. 50-50s. But yeah,
Maybe?
but-
Or it was like
but-
grapefruit and lemon.
But either
lime? I
way,
don't know.
7-Up is definitely it's an adequate mixer. Yes,
Yeah,
because of
I
the
suppose
lemon lime.
It's like Coke.
Mhm.
Yeah, because actually I don't think many people even use Sprite to mix. I think honestly
do,
people
Sprite
prefer
vodka.
7-Up. Yeah?
No, Sprite and vodka is.
I don't
but-
drink a lot.
I know.
Anyway.
And I drink way too much.
That's a conversation for a different day. Next time on Power Trip Gaming Retrospective.
We'll review something better.
There you go. 7-Up Spot.
That was boring as fuck.
Yeah.
It's just not a good game. It's not a good game.
See, it's always hard to review these, and I think I mentioned this even in like John Elway's Quarterback, where it's like it's hard to like really do an adequate. I can't imagine many people are gonna watch this one, just because it's like who's honestly curious to review Spot.
It shouldn't be anybody.
No, people want to see like the Phantom Fighters and the Gunnacks and just some of the more obscure ones that are actually more interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But who's actively looking like for a review of Spot?
Nobody. Nobody.
Sad. Yeah.